This week's Coach of the Week, sponsored by Exquisite Lawns, goes to Nicholas Velez and Curtis Hahn of the first and second grade boys Hawks. If you've got a first or second grader boy, you know they have a ton of energy. And Nicholas and Curtis both match that energy every game as they are on the sidelines directing traffic and encouraging in so many ways. They have done a great job all season engaging those boys and coaching them to be better, not just athletes, but boys that have character as well. So great job, Nicholas. Great job, Curtis. We're so thankful to have you. You are this week's Coach of the Week, sponsored by Exquisite Lawns. Our Player of the Week, sponsored by Innovative Insight Solutions, goes to Miss Cassidy Gann of the Fireballs. This is what Coach Krista said about Cassidy. She said Cassidy had 2 incredible saves as goalie this past Saturday. Her resilience has been outstanding and a joy to watch. And I can attest to that. Cassidy, you have done such a great job all season long of going wherever your coach tells you to. You've had save after save after save. You've given your all, and that's exactly what we want from an athlete. So, Cassidy, great job. You are this week's Player of the Week, sponsored by Innovative Insight Solutions. Dream about how technology could automate or improve your business, and then give them a call and tell them about it. Welcome to episode 69, Winning with the Home Team. I'm Katrina.
I'm Todd.
And today we have someone special, someone that has impacted my life dramatically and also who has impacted the lives of many children as well as adults. So we have Miss Natalie Bartoo.
Hey.
What's up, Natalie?
Not much. I thought you were calling yourself a child. It impacted many children, and so I don't know if you were saying you were a child.
I mean, I'm a child at heart, I feel
that's
like.
true,
You know,
100%.
for
Yep.
sure. Natalie, you're also my neighbor.
Yes.
So that's
across
fun.
the street neighbor.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah. I get counseling once a week over there.
stop.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't. So Natalie is a counselor, been counseling since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I questioned that. I said, wait a second, Impact was open in 2005.
We were.
Yeah.
I was finishing my master's, and I went up to Ed Lamance one day in the fall of 2003 and said, hey, can I do my externship with
Yeah.
you? And he was like, sure thing. Also, we're going to tell the church that we are going to start working on a counseling center.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, good
Yeah.
timing, God.
So you're the OG.
Yeah.
You and Ed.
Well, and a few other people, not just
Yeah.
me and Ed.
Yeah.
But it's been cool to be able to say I've got to work with him
Yeah.
that long and be a part of Impact
Yeah.
for so long. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
So today, we specifically are going to talk about children.
Yes.
Which I assume that's why you're watching, is because you have kids, or you just like Todd's face.
I mean, that's a big part of the audience.
Yeah, for sure. And so, Natalie, would you say that kids are probably your most favorite population to work with?
Oh, man. I have loved working with kids since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Kind of grew up in church getting to serve and, of course, babysitting, that kind of thing. But I've just always loved working with kids. I've
Yeah.
always known I would work with kids. It's kind of my jam. I
Yeah.
do that pretty much everywhere I go, and working with kids everywhere.
Yeah. So 23 years you've been working with
23
kids?
years with Impact,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
like long before that in children's
Yeah.
ministry.
Yeah.
Just ever, it seems
Yeah.
like.
Little known fact: when we first started going here and our kids were young, my first impression of Natalie was in kids worship of some kind,
Uh-huh.
and I thought to myself, "How patient is this person?" I mean, really, that was my first impression of you. That was what 13 years ago.
Was
or
that
so.
with Cole specifically or Mason?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah. Just the kids in general. I thought,
Yeah.
man, she has such a wonderful
Yeah.
presence with
Yeah.
those kids. She
Yeah.
really does.
I think
Yeah.
I'm probably just because I'm immature and that's probably where that fits
Yeah.
in.
So when I asked Natalie, okay, Natalie, you've been counseling for a long time, kids specifically. If you were to give one piece of advice to parents, what was your direct reply after that?
I said, that's a ridiculous question. One piece of advice. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then God was pretty cool, and he gave me pretty quickly one piece of advice. Of course, then I was able to kind of find the loophole and then make it like a bunch of things. But out of one little statement.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And what would that piece of advice be?
be present.
We've heard that.
Yeah.
We've heard that in the past weeks with, I think that Pastor Eric talked about that, and what presence means a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there was one more guest that talked about being
Yeah.
present.
Well, there have been multiple
Yeah.
that over the years, I guess. Now years that we've been doing this. Like, that's a big component. So
is. It's huge.
expound on that.
So how would you define be present for
Oh,
moms
goodness.
and dads?
Well, being present, I know a lot of times will say that, well, I'm here, well, I do things. I'm taking my kids here, I'm taking my kids there. We go on vacations, we do all those kinds of things. But being present is really not about the physicality of it, which is super important, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's about intentionality.
Yeah.
It's about paying attention. It's about looking beyond just what's happening in the moment, but watching for patterns, watching for interests, watching, taking things they're learning in different spaces and pulling it in. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of work to be present. But I feel like that's probably what I hear more from kids and teens than anything, is that they feel like their parents aren't listening, or they're not present, or they're too busy. That's what I hear a lot.
That's interesting because the people that we have on our show are adults that talk about the need to be present, but it's from your perspective, that's what you hear from the kids, is that's
That
what
is
they
so
want.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So flesh that out. Like, you briefly mentioned it, but kids specifically are saying, they're here, but like, are they saying that they're not relational? Like, they don't know how to talk to them?
I think I hear more they don't feel like they listen.
Okay.
They hear me, but they're not listening to what I'm saying. And as a parent, sometimes my child can say things and I think I understand them.
Yeah.
And I can go with that, but it may not be what's going on. And my daughter's pretty verbal with me, and she'll be like, no, you're not hearing me. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so it's, as we learn how to communicate, from adult to adult,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
like, okay, we can do the whole, okay, this is what I hear you saying. We
Yeah.
should be doing that with our kids too. Okay, I hear you saying this. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
But we tend to just assume we know. We do a lot of assuming as parents because we think we know, and oftentimes we're right, but not always. And there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of things that, unless we dig in a little bit and go, hey, okay, what do you really mean by that? We kind of gloss over and don't get to sometimes the root of what's really going on, or we try to fix it.
Yeah.
Parents are great fixers. Like, we always want to fix. That's the other thing I hear a lot is that, they just want to fix me. They want to fix what's wrong. And it all comes out of a good place because we want everything great for our kids.
Sure.
We don't want them to struggle. We want to help them with this. We want to, we see this, we want to fix this. I've got to, lick my thumb and get, whatever off the face, and that's, we're emotionally doing that,
Yes.
and everything too. And so, and that's, our hearts are right there, but we're not listening. We're not validating. We're not understanding where they're coming from before we go in and try to fix something.
Right.
And kids end up resenting that, actually. When we're trying to do a good thing,
Yeah.
they end up resenting that.
So how do you teach the parents to go
Yeah.
through that feedback loop with
Yeah.
their kids? How do you get that?
Well, and I was thinking it's almost a ceiling for the parents based on how how well they want to be intentional. Like, as far as their emotional capability, like, are they able to have those hard conversations?
That's
Do they know the right questions to ask? So it's like there's almost a ceiling based on their experience and what they grew up on. Like, do you see that?
Oh, no, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we always bring, right? We bring
Yeah.
our how we were parented,
Yeah.
to the table
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
So if we had parents that didn't listen, we don't necessarily know how to listen. Or we might be like, ooh, I want to listen, and it
Yeah.
really kind of depends on you as a person, how you do
Yeah.
that. Or if you had parents who just kind of told you what to do, my way, the highway, then you might end up being that way too.
Yeah.
Or so, it's either you do what you've learned or you
Go the
tend to
opposite, yeah.
direction, right?
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
times, unless you
Yeah.
go, hey, I want to be different. I
Right.
want to really make sure, and that's more times than not, obviously, that's a Christ transformation. It's, I want to parent, like Christ. I want to be like Him in that. So how does He relate to me? That's how I need to relate to my kids, obviously, because that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I'm thinking about the car ride from school to home.
Yeah.
Right. And for me personally, and I'm sure this is the case for most adults, but like I have to be okay with being interruptible. Not as I'm speaking, but interruptible in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, and you mentioned intentionality, and that's true. But you know, as I'm asking Taya questions and I'm trying to listen, there, much like I do when I'm reading a book, you know, there's thoughts that will come
Yeah.
in. More than likely, it's thoughts about work. And if Taya has an important question, you know, I have to be interruptible to place my thoughts down on what I was thinking about in my head, and then able to bring up her thoughts and listen with intentionality,
Right.
which is super hard. Like
Super hard.
It's almost like I have to stop the loop that's playing in my head to focus on the priority.
Yeah.
Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
hard.
It is
so
very hard. It's very
Yeah.
hard because obviously we have a whole ton of things that we're thinking about all the time.
And they do too, though.
And they do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we forget that because
Yeah.
they've gone through, like, especially in the car right after school, there are a ton of things they've walked through that day. And it's been a long day. I mean, and they've walked through friend things. They've walked through failures. They've walked through, I don't understand something. They've walked through trying to remember things, you know, like, did you get this from your teacher? No, I forgot. You're like, how could you forget? You're like, well, one, they're children.
Yeah.
Two, there's 1,000 things that they're dealing with all day long, and
Yeah.
they're being told by a bunch of other adults what to do, you know. And then if you've got a strong-willed kid, they've spent all day trying to control themselves and not lose it and get in trouble. You got an ADHD kid who spent all day like trying to focus and had their name called 1,000 times, and they feel like they can't do anything right. So they're coming home. You know, you've got an introvert who's like, I've been around people all day long and I don't remember anything at this point. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got all the different things your own kid is going through in their own person and how they're made and their own personal struggles on top of just a long day of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so they've gone through a lot and they don't know how to process that as well as we do. And we're not even that good at it. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I'm
Yeah.
trying to help them, you know, go, I need to take some time to let them process, to ask, you know, good questions that are open-ended, that, you know, and take time. I can't get all the answers in the car, you know, or
Yeah.
if I'm getting a bunch in the car, then I need to stop and listen because there's a lot that needs to come out. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Parenting's
Yeah.
hard, man.
Yeah. Right. So therefore, I'm going to ask a selfish question about parenting, because having kids now that are grown and out of the house and, you know, having been through the teenage years and all that, you know, you mentioned Taya and how you relate to her. You know, teenagers tend to, when they get to that age, kind of withdraw, you know, and so my wife was still doing the same things that she did when they were 6, when she's trying to get the feedback in the
Right.
relationship, and they're just not having it, you know? And so what do you do as a parent when you feel like, man, I'm doing the same thing I did when they were that age, and now they just don't want to talk at all?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, and honestly, I mean, some of that does come with what you do, and it's never too late, right? But some of it really does have to do with what you're doing from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know, the relationship you're building.
Right.
There's like I don't know where it is, but there's a graphic somewhere that talks about, you know, your authority as a parent is high early on.
Yeah.
And then it starts going down
Right.
as the child gets older. And influence is pretty low early on because you haven't established anything,
Yeah,
right? But over
right.
time, your influence should increase.
Yeah.
So you kind of see this thing going that way. And so if you've been building relationship and building, you know, patterns of how we talk about things, you know, and yeah, you're going to have to shift. You're not going to
Yeah.
have those same conversations the same way as you did when
Right.
you were kids. But hopefully your influence is increasing because you've been present,
Yeah.
because you've been engaged in them, you've shown interest in them, you've been aware of what's going on. You've been, I don't want to say a gentle parent because we have different connotations of what that means nowadays, but
Yeah.
you've been gentle in how you've listened and heard,
Right.
and then how you've handled that
Yeah.
from there. They've come to trust you, and that's where that not authority, but the influence. That's where the influence comes. Is through that trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
And
sense.
so they want to come talk to you about stuff. You're hoping they'll come talk about the big things, right? But then you kind of know, yeah, they're going to withdraw a little bit because they're leaning more toward friends, you know. But hopefully your influence has increased so that when you are talking to them about things, it's like, hey, hit me with the big stuff.
Right,
you know,
right,
like,
right.
Tell me what you're really struggling with. It's
Yeah.
about, or what are the things you're going to ask is different because it's more future focused.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the kids, it's more present right now in the moment.
Right.
But when you start hitting those high school ages, it's much more about the future, what they're
Yeah.
thinking about. their concerns, their worries. I had a kid one time. I was like, I don't want to be an adult. And I was like,
Me
Same.
either.
Yeah.
I know, right? I was like, I'm be careful how I'm gonna proceed. Why not? I don't know how to do all the things I need to
Yeah.
do. And I was like, what? Like, what do you think you need to know how to do? And then he just
Right.
went through this whole list of anxieties he's having about. I don't know how to get my car registered. I don't know how to I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
you don't have to do all that right
Yeah.
now. Like, you don't
Yeah.
turn 18. It's like I have to be able to do all those
Right.
things. Like he was, I mean, not in a good space.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we make a list of the things you don't think you know how to do before you get out of the house. I'm sure your parents will help you know. And his parents were parents that would help you know how to do
Right.
that. But you hadn't thought about there's all these things they're starting to think about and worry about
Yeah.
that they think is their responsibility, or I'm going to have to do all on my own, or how do I handle all this?
Yeah.
And beginning some of those big conversations of the future things
Right.
will help them be able to, they don't even know maybe sometimes what to ask or what to
Yeah.
talk about because
Yeah.
they haven't had to do it yet.
Right.
You know? So what's becoming important as they get older
That's
is
good.
different than what's important when they're younger.
That's good.
Yeah.
I had on that. So when they're 13 or 14, we experienced that. But like you're talking about the influence, you know, I have one graduating high school and one graduating college this month, and both of them will come up and hug their parents and say, I love you. And it's almost like they go through that little bit and then they come out the other side. And as long as you have been consistent with how you're loving on them and being present,
Oh, yeah.
it pays off
It
in the
does.
end. You just have to go through that
Yeah.
sometimes to,
You do.
yeah.
I remember a moment, and I was in a great relation with my parents. They were very present, and they were very ministry minded. They were very involved in
Yeah.
teaching in the youth group at our church. And I think at one point my dad was like, you know, as an adult, he was like, we always worried that y'all thought that we weren't there for you because we were there for all these other kids. Like, oh my gosh, you were totally there for us.
Yeah.
But it was so impressive how you were there for other people, you know.
Yeah.
And I love
They
that
noticed.
You,
Yeah.
it was really really cool. But I remember being in my early 20s, and it hit me one day like, oh my gosh, my parents actually knew what they were talking about. It's like they were
Early
actually
20s? Early 20s?
yeah, I was like about
Okay,
24,
okay, yeah.
about
Yeah.
24. I remember
Yeah.
going, wow. And I remember calling them and going, you know what? You guys were right about so much. And I think they were just like, oh, wow, thanks, you know?
Yeah. They validated their parenting.
Yeah. Like we waited 24 years to hear that. But I mean, you realize, you know, once you've kind of lived a little bit, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
my parents weren't stupid.
Yeah.
You know, they knew what they were talking about. And
Right.
wow, they put up with a bunch, you know? And I think I call them on a regular basis. Well, I did early on, especially. I still do, though. We'll call them after different counseling sessions and stuff and just thank them for
Yeah.
how they were as parents, or thank them they're not letting me have to go through some
Right.
certain things, you know.
Yeah.
And
Did you hear that, kids? She called her parents and said thank you. Yeah.
mine too now, even, you know, at my age.
Yeah.
I won't say how old I am because I'm old, but I still thank them for like things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to deal with that.
Right.
Or thank you for teaching me this. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate what you chose to do
Mm-hmm.
so that I didn't have to walk through something, or I knew how to do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Right. That's good.
that will come back around.
Yeah.
Parents,
Yeah.
trust me. You know.
Well, let's jump into what you think being present looks like. When you say be present, that's a wide open door for so many things.
Oh, for sure.
So talk about what that means in a child's spiritual formation.
Okay. Well, you know, the first thing I think of with that is I think we're so and I think the best of parents do this is we bring our kid, and I'm going to speak from this as a parent and as a children's ministry worker.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to drop your kid off on a Sunday morning. You know, hey, this is what we do. We do church, drop it off Sunday morning. Your kid is with other people for 3, depending how long Eric preaches.
Yeah. 3.5.
3, 4,
Yeah.
6. I don't know. It feels like that.
Well, you throw a connection group in there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then you throw kids praise or kids rock in there.
Yeah.
Well, no,
And
you throw
that's-
worship while kids are in kids praise and kids rock. Yeah, but no, yeah, that's a 3. It's probably 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that they're with someone else teaching them
Right.
about Jesus, and then you pick them up. Everybody's hungry. You go eat, and then we go about our Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and in our church, you know, we are all supposed to be on about the same, learning the same things, an
Right.
adult connection group versus kids connection groups. So you know what your kid's learning. You get like a little pamphlet too
Yeah.
that tells you what
Yeah.
you're learning, but that usually gets lost, you know,
In the car.
in the car,
car,
yeah,
yeah.
and somewhere
Or left in the classroom.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But to spend time asking, you know, just like you would at school, you know, what You know, what did you learn about in your
Yeah.
connection group? You know, I learned about this. Did you learn about that too? You know, what songs did you sing? Like, you know, what does that mean? Looking at lyrics of songs. I mean, it's not hard. They're coming home singing those things, but we just
Yeah.
don't think to do that.
Right.
And so our job, it's not the church's job to, to spiritually form your child. It is your job as a parent, right? Our job is to come alongside you and help you know how to do that and give you and lay some groundwork to help reinforce that. But then you go and do that. So
Yeah.
the cool thing is we set you up on a Sunday morning, you know,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can go with that and take that all week long, you know,
Yeah.
and go, let's
Sure.
take a little bit of that. You know, what's your memory verse for this week? Let's take that on. So it's being present is that I'm going to take what is already being handed to me. And I can just take that and use that throughout the week, talking to them about that, engaging them in that, helping them understand what those things mean. And if I'm not sure what they mean either, I can
Yeah.
learn with my child.
That's what
you
I was going
know?
to ask you is, do you think parents are sometimes intimidated to have those conversations because they don't have the answers if their kids
Probably
ask?
true.
Yeah.
It's probably true. So you learn together.
Right.
And there is no better example than to say, let me learn with you. I'm going
Right.
to learn because you're going to learn how to do it and you're going to teach them too.
Yeah.
And they see that it's important to you as a parent.
Yeah.
So that's the heart of that
Yeah.
spiritual formation. I'm going to show you that I'm learning how to do it too.
Yeah.
And you're teaching them, they're seeing that it's important
Exactly.
to you as a
Yeah.
parent.
We had a dad who told me, he was like, you know, after church, we get in the car, we drive to lunch or drive home. And he said, I love asking my kids, what did you learn? Because he said, they then tell me the story of what they learned that day. And I go home and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I didn't know this. And he said it sparks all kinds of conversations
For
amongst the
sure.
adults
Yeah.
in,
For
in the
sure.
family. And so that's his way of being present, but he's also getting something out of it too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. You know, what questions would you advise parents to continue to ask without being overly forceful? If you're almost 7-year-old, when you ask those questions, they go, I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah.
And then your husband pops off, probably Jesus. Stop. I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, yeah. How do you continue to ask questions without being overly forceful?
Well, I think the first thing, obviously, I think is you lay some groundwork. You know that. I'm trying to think how to say that the right way. If it's becoming something that you do normally, then it's going to come out of that normalness. You know, Deuteronomy 6:7. I know.
6, 7.
Thank you. I'll wait for it. Man, even my first graders,
Yeah.
they're like, I can't even do it. Like, here's 6, 7. I'm just automatically, my hands do it. Like, but it's wrong with me. You know, it talks about, you know, as we walk, as we sit in our homes, as we walk, as we go, as we come, as whatever we're doing, we should be talking about the scripture. We should talk about truth. And so it should be something that we just kind of do naturally so that it becomes something, and not, it doesn't have to be, you have to be good at it. It's just something that you do. Like, let's just talk about it, you
Right.
know? And that becomes a natural conversation. It's a lot easier, you know, when it's okay, tell me about this. Like, I don't know, you know. And sometimes you've got your introverted kids who are going to answer, I don't know, because they don't know. But so it's like, I'm going to pose a question out there, and what you think about it, you know, and maybe you have a question of the day, you know, to think about, you know. Like right now we're trying to do the fruit of the Spirit in our family because we need to be way more fruitful about some things in our family. And so
let's start there.
you know, so like, you know, love is the first one. And so like, how can I, you know, bear love as a fruit in my family with my friends? With, like, you know, you start taking things and making them applicable, which is a lot easier. A lot of questions is a little bit harder. But if we say, okay, what does this look like? You know, how do you think God wants us to show love? You know, and how can you do that with your friend and family? Well, what did it talk about? I mean, you can, you know, ask those kind of questions. How do you see that in your friendships or whatever? But what's, you know, when you're talking about like a lesson, like what did you learn in the class or whatever? You know, I think the best questions to ask is, you know, what did it say about God? You know, you may not be able to remember the whole lesson. Well, he loves us, or he's powerful, you know, or he's strong, you know. Well, you know, what's a way we can ask for him to be powerful this week? You know, what's something you're struggling with or whatever? Or what's a way that he can show you he loves you this week, you know? And we can help them know how to apply some of those things easier. And and what did the lesson tell you about, or what do we need to do different because of what we learned about, and you can jog, once you start
That's
jogging
good.
their memory,
Yeah,
they'll
that's
start
good.
remembering those
Yeah.
things, and if
Yeah.
you know the lesson, or what you're talking to them about, or you can bring a scripture a day or scripture for the week and, break it down and explain what it means and
Yeah.
then begin to apply it, or even songs that they're singing. They're coming home singing the songs.
Yeah.
They're like, what's that song? What are the words?
Yeah.
Find out. I have parents all the time ask me, my kid is humming this song, and I work with the, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds and
Yeah.
kids praising. They're like, I don't know what this is, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real song. And I'm like, no, it actually is. My favorite is we had a parent who were like, hey, there's a song my kid came home singing, and she's like singing that Jesus had no body wash. And I was like, no body wash? What? Like, yeah, she's singing, no body wash, Jesus, no body wash. She's like, oh, no body but Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
No body
and
wash.
she's still to this day, no, it's no body wash, So I have to fix those sometimes, because Jesus is clean, I don't know, but. But
he doesn't need body wash.
he doesn't need body
Yeah.
wash. He's already
Yeah.
clean, so no body
Yeah.
wash.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
actually
Yeah.
theologically correct. But finding those songs, that they're humming along and like, okay, let's talk about what that means.
Yeah.
It's so important for us to make sure our kids know what the meanings of the songs we should as we're
Yeah.
worshiping.
Right.
We need to know what we're singing, but being able to use that to be like,
Right.
oh, let's talk about that. We're singing this song. What does that mean? And
Yeah.
help them understand that too. You can use that to help them
Yeah.
think. So if jumping off points are important, it doesn't have to be,
Mhm.
the Inquisition. It's like, what did you learn in Sunday school? Or whatever connection group. It's hard. It's still hard. I don't know how many years it's been not Sunday school. But you don't have to. It can be just easy
good.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other areas, when you say be present, what other areas seem important?
Oh gosh, education. A lot of times, again, it's the same thing. We send our kids off to school, and like
Yeah.
the teacher's supposed to teach. Like, well, but our responsibility, we have a responsibility there, right?
Yeah.
So, looking at where we're struggling, because I think you get grades sometimes like, what? How come?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, well, that's been a struggle. The teacher didn't tell me. Okay, but also, if you're looking at what they're bringing home, or you're looking at things or asking them, or finding out, what their interests are.
Mhm.
Like, I'm really good
Mhm.
at this. I really like it. Find out. What they're doing that, if they've got projects, be present on the project and do it for them. But I mean,
Yeah.
be a part of it, like brainstorm with them, talk, just being available and knowing. I think it's just a knowing and understanding it. But that means you're going to have to talk to your kid. Your kid's going to have to tell you. You're not going to tell your kid,
Yeah.
let them
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
So how do you do that if, I'm a single parent or my wife and I work,
gosh, yeah.
constantly and I get home and I'm so tired and I still have to do the laundry and the dishes and all that kind of stuff. But yet I'm still expected to check my kids' homework and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
All right, well, I'm Katrina, and I'm here with my friend Josh Thibodeau from the Coverage Crew.
Hey, that's right. And I'm proud to support the home team. I'm a local State Farm agent, and we call ourselves the Coverage Crew. You can find me online at thecoveragecrew.com.
Or is there a secret to it, I
And
guess?
I don't know that there's a secret. I think my mindset has been this, and I know this is not probably the thing people most want to hear. I don't know. My mindset is I got 18 years.
Mm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to work long past that.
Yeah.
I've already done some things.
Right.
I got 18 years. If you got multiple kids, then I know it's longer than 18 years. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
But
But the sentiment is the same.
yeah, I've got
Yeah.
18 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
That is it. And so I'm like, if it takes more out of me to have to stay up later and do this, it takes more out of me to stay up later. Now you got to take care of yourself. You got to put your oxygen mask on before you put on your kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're taking care of you, and so you have to do that. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to be present.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But is that getting up earlier to take care of some things?
Right.
Is that giving some of your kids responsibilities?
Yeah.
You help me get the laundry in so that
Yeah.
we can help me do this, and we'll sit down and kind of look at
Right.
this. Not you don't have to do it all. How do we divvy that up? Is it okay if your house is messy? Yes, it's totally okay that your house
Yeah.
is messy.
Yeah.
It's totally okay that if you don't put your laundry up. Some of those things are going to come. But
That's a mindset that you have to
yeah.
develop. Yeah.
it really, really is. And it's
Yeah.
hard. If you're a perfectionist, if you feel like I've got to do it all right,
Mhm.
you don't. that's not, if you want to do something right, the kids is what you need to do right. You know,
Yeah.
the other stuff
Yeah.
True.
is not important.
Right.
It's not important. And I tell myself that all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm a perfectionist and
Yeah.
I want to do it all right. But I'm like, this is more important. This is the most important thing that you do because it affects the generations.
Yeah.
And you're creating legacy. You're creating,
Mm-hmm.
you're instilling in something in them they're going to take that with them as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to take that with them as a grandparent. And their kids are going to do that as a parent.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not just the moment. And I think we get tired, there's that, and being present in like the stages of development.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't wait until I don't have to clean a diaper anymore.
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to miss that.
You are. Yeah.
I just can't wait until they'll talk. Oh my gosh, you're going to miss when they didn't.
Right.
I mean, I can't wait till they can walk. Oh no, you can.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean,
Yeah.
every stage, like, I can't wait till you can do this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But every stage makes them less and less dependent upon you,
Yeah.
which, you want them to be independent. That's
Right.
your whole goal. Raise them to be independent so they can go do the things on their own and be fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
But as you do that, you're separating yourself further and further away, which is why you hope the influence increases. So you're
Yeah,
really not
yeah.
separated that way.
Right.
But by paying attention and being present, you get to store all that up and treasure that and create that relationship and that bond of trust. And I'm here for you, and I've been there for you, and I'm, as we love the Lord and as parents, and we're putting that in them, then they're going to see that we love the Lord. And they're going to take
Yeah.
that with them, and
Yeah.
you're just creating the legacy. You're creating the generational impact, which is so important.
One of the things that has crushed my soul the most is the chart that shows the amount of time you spend with your child. And by the time they reach age 12, it's some like ridiculously high number, like 80% of the time that you'll actually spend with your child physically is over.
Yeah.
Like once they reach the high school ages, it's drastically less. And then of course they move out, they start their own families and all that kind of stuff. And I've always thought to myself, man, I do not want to be the Thanksgiving or the Christmas parent where I only see them,
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the influence that you can
for
have over
sure.
them early.
For sure. So just, and that really isn't an answer. How do you make it better?
No, you're right.
But it is, you only have that kind of time. So it's like, what can you do? What can you set aside?
Yeah.
What can you, and man, parents of multiple kids, single moms, single dads,
Yeah.
you're heroes. I don't even know how you do that,
Right.
because that is so incredibly difficult. But I think it is about prioritizing. It is about going, what is the most important thing here? And this really is the most important thing. It is the most important thing. And you got to survive and you got to do all that. And yes.
Yeah.
But again,
Priorities. Yeah.
yeah. Whenever, and this applies here, it's just such a sweet truth. My sister, whenever my daughter was, an infant, and those days of being up and like, will you please go to sleep? Like, I have nothing left. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
You're so tired.
Right.
Can we just please
Yeah.
just sleep? And then you're like, God, why are you not putting this kid to sleep? I don't understand. Like, you see me, you see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you intervene? And I was talking to my sister about that, and it's such wisdom, and that she got from the Lord, or she got from somewhere. I don't know, but it was so smart. We were talking about this. She said, that's a time you have to walk through because there is a bond being built between you and your child when you're up late and you're there. That's just being present. I'm there with you. I'm not like, oh, you just go to bed. Like, you're sitting there, you're patting them. I'm here for you. I'm comforting. I'm in it with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is not fun for either one of us,
Yeah.
but I'm here with you in it. And I'm comforting you. Eventually, they're going to go to sleep. Eventually, you're going to get some sleep. Eventually, in a few years, you'll get more sleep. But I'm present. I'm here. And it's the same thing for the next 18 years, but different.
Yeah.
I'm going to be up late working on some project after I've already worked all day long.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm not going to bed before you do unless you were the one that procrastinated and it's not your fault because you didn't do it. That might be different. But I'm here in the doubleheader games that go late,
Yeah.
and we're all so tired. I'm going to be there even though I've got to get up early for a presentation or something next morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. And it's that bond that you're creating that says, I can count on you. You're there. You care
Yeah.
about me. I'm important to you.
Yeah.
Baseball's not important. yes, it is. But baseball's not important. The choir program's not important. The grades aren't important. All that stuff's not important. The child is important.
Yeah.
And so I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And bond is being grown. So again, that influence increases.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
I'm reflecting the fact that Christ is with you. Like I'm here as that representative, and because of that, I'm showing you that He's there for you too. And I can make that claim because I've chosen to be there. If I'm not a parent there, then why is Jesus going to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought, like, my son, all the boys would say, Dad, can we go outside and throw? And I've never said no, no matter how tired I am. Not because I want to go out and throw, but because, and not even, like you said, it's not about baseball. It's because if I say no today, number one, it'll be easier for me to say no tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
But then also, they're asking for me. They're not asking for, I'm a great pitcher. They want to spend time with their dad. And because you only have so much time, I always worry that I don't want them to get to be 21 and not have memories of, not just the memories, but just the knowledge that, hey, whenever I asked Dad if he would do this with me, he was there, just like you're saying.
Right. Well, and like you said, if I say no, it's easier for me to say no the next time.
Yeah.
Not just that, but if you say no, they're not going to ask next time.
Right.
Eventually,
Yeah, they'll
they're
stop
like, I'm
asking.
not going to ask
Right.
because you're not going to do it.
And then they'll find something else to do with someone else. And
That's right.
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that replacement.
Oh gosh, that's a whole different podcast.
I'm learning so many lessons right now. As kids get older, right? You guys talked about the physical time with them decreases, and then they spend more time, with their friends and other relationships. Is that a component of, like, do you recommend, moms and dads being present in other
my gosh.
friendships?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. And again, that so much starts, and again, it's never too late. You jump in and figure that out. And I think if you haven't done this early on and you're like, oh my gosh, my kid is 13 and I haven't done any of that, you could start 13. And anytime as a parent, anytime we don't do something we should have done and we realize, oh my gosh, I had no idea, I didn't know, I want to make that change, you can do that. Don't be like, it's too late, I can't do it now.
Yeah.
You just go to your kid and say, you know what, I've learned something that I haven't known. And I want to make a change in that. And this really isn't like it's not because of you think you've done, it's something I should have done. And that's on me. And I need to make some changes.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier. And this is why I'm doing it. So then, because otherwise kids think, I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Now you're like
Yeah.
in my business all the time.
Right,
You're like,
right. What happened?
So yeah, what happened? You can trust me. It's not that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. I'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm more present.
Right.
But it's about me.
Yeah.
I've done something I should not have done,
Yeah.
or I have not been where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so I think most kids would be like, oh, all right. Well, again, you're modeling, appropriate behavior and recognizing your wrongs and trying to fix it. But you're also telling them I should have been more invested in some things that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, and I want to do that now. And again, your kid may not like that. And be like, whoa, but I think it's important. And deep down, they'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those funny things. Like I'll have kids all the time tell me about punishment they get, and then they're like, but then my parents will forget, so it doesn't really matter because they don't follow through. And I'm like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
I said, don't tell them I said that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They'll bring it back.
so then I find ways to be like, hey, you might want to just make sure that,
Yeah.
You're being following through. I try not to tattle tell, but.
Was it my kid? Be honest.
I can't. No, I'm kidding. I think there's that, and there's an importance to be able to say, I need to be doing this
Yeah.
better, and I need to follow through. Kids know that. If you don't follow through,
100%. Yeah.
man, how can they trust you?
Right.
If you don't follow through on this big threat you said,
Yeah.
are you gonna follow through on the other things that are important?
Yeah.
Like that's huge, which again is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But it is about being able to be truthful and honest. So as far as friendships and being involved, I mean, from the beginning, like making sure. I know every parent can't go to school and be a room parent. You can't go to every
Right.
field trip. You can't do that.
Yeah.
People, it's not possible all the time. But you can find opportunity. If you can't do that, if you can do that, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be present when you can at those things. Get to know your kids. We had this really, was a gift. COVID was not a gift, but there were so many gifts that came out of COVID.
Yeah.
And my daughter started kindergarten in COVID, which was weird. Because we were online as a kindergartner, like doing school for the first time,
Yeah.
really, outside of preschool, which didn't really count like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is so strange, it's so weird. But we got to know as parents, I mean, they're kindergartners, so you're sitting right next to your kid on their
Yeah.
iPad
Yeah.
doing school. We got to know the kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was crazy. Like we got to see these kids' personalities. We would never have had that
Right.
opportunity to get to know kids that fast.
Yeah.
And we watched them be silly. We watched their personalities. We, as parents, got to know each other, in ways we wouldn't have. We got to look in a classroom that we never would have had that
Yeah.
opportunity. So there's this huge silver lining about that time, which I, at first was just kind of grieved over. Then I was like, no, this was a gift.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. And they have that group of kids has a really strong bond, and we know those kids know us, and so it's really neat. I feel like I've got, all the kids are my kids too. And it's huge because, like, I can discipline those kids, and it's fine because they're like, yeah, Miss Bartoo, and those parents can discipline my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know them, and if I hear things about them, like, I care about those
Yeah.
kids, and I understand kind of where they're coming from some.
Yeah.
Or if things start changing, I'm like, oh man, that's sad. Or we had a lot of divorces, and I had a couple parent deaths, in our group, and it's we can grieve with them or encourage them or whatever. And so it's not just about your kid,
Yeah.
It's about knowing your kids' friends, and then they trust you too, and then you understand when they're your kids talking about those kids. So finding ways to be, present. Being the home that kids can come to, inviting friends over, but inviting their parents over,
Yeah.
to get to know them, doing things outside, play dates or whatever, when you get older, they're not play dates anymore, but going and doing things to say, hey,
Yeah.
our kids want to go do this. Do you want to get coffee while they're
Yeah.
in a movie or whatever, so you're getting to the parent too. But getting to the kids
Yeah.
is, taking them, be the one that drives so you can hear what they're talking about in the backseat.
Yeah.
And being aware of what's been going on so that you can ask your kid more questions. And,
Yeah.
that's so important.
Yeah.
So along those lines, how do you parent those friendships when you necessarily don't like the kid or their friendship?
And, that's an interesting one. And I think with most kids, if you tell them to do something, they're like, "Oh, I'll do that." So with friendships, you have to be really careful because you're going to push them into it more, right? So I think it's about asking questions. So tell me about so and so. Like, what kind of things do they like? Oh, what do you think about that? Well, I heard them say this. What do you think they meant by that? You let them. If you can let a kid discover it themselves, without you telling them. It's so much better because then they'll make that decision more for themselves, or
Yeah.
at least are thinking
Yeah.
about it, Or pay attention. Are you asking in general, like, which ones of your friends do you feel like you would trust if you needed someone to do this for you? Which friends are you kind of like, I don't know if I can trust them if I tell them a secret? Which friends
Yeah.
do you would you want there for you if there was a bully around? Which friends would you? And you,
those
you
are
can
good.
ask some of those things, and you're not even talking about anybody.
Those are good
You're making them
questions.
think
Yeah.
about
That's really
those
good.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do hear, Johnny Paul says if you catch a frog and put it in your lunchbox, it's good luck. And well, you need to stay away from Johnny Paul. That's what I would say.
Or you'd be like,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's
Do you
that's
want a frog in your
right.
lunch? What's a frog going to do inside your lunch?
What if the frog pees in your lunch?
Right, right.
How are you going to feel about
Yeah,
your lunch now?
yeah.
Or Johnny Paul?
Along those lines, similarly, like what if your kid is hanging out with someone and they are doing like an interest activity, like maybe skateboarding, and you just like you're not into skateboarding. Like you have the example over and over again that Cole wanted to be in band,
Yeah.
right? And you had already been through Cameron, who wasn't into sports, Macy, who was a ballerina, and now Cole,
Yeah.
who you just wanted to play sports,
Right.
and now he's into band,
Right. Yeah.
So like, do you have to be interested in the things that your kids are interested in?
Well, first,
If you don't
no.
want to.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to be interested in it. Like, it doesn't have to become your favorite thing.
Right.
But your kid's your favorite thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
So because my kid's my favorite
Yeah.
thing, then I'm going to be interested in what they're doing.
Right.
It's focus on your kid. You don't have to focus on band. Like,
Yeah.
you might be like, oh gosh, like, clarinet squeakings and,
Yeah. Yes.
all the things. I'm picking on myself. But all that is like, oh, if I have to listen to another band concert, I'm gonna, But it's like, don't focus on the band concert. That's probably would be good for you. But
Yeah.
like, focus on my kid is doing something
Right.
and putting themselves out there to try something that they're interested in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter a lick if I like it or not.
Right.
You said skateboarding. I had someone one time who was their kid was like, my dad is so not interested in what I like. He doesn't care about it. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, it's skateboarding. I really got into skateboarding. And I'm like, in front of my house learning all these tricks, and I want to show my dad, and my dad is not interested.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe, because sometimes kids view things differently. And like, so I asked the dad, and lo and behold, dad's like, no, I hate skateboarding. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to waste my time with that. And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, I'm like, it's not really about skateboarding, dude. It's
Yeah.
about your child. That's something that they're finding an interest in. Go and watch them skateboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how many times as a kid growing up, like, watch this, Mom, and I don't know. It's like,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now watch this. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
We did that.
Yeah.
And now they're doing something really actually cool. Go watch
Right.
it. If you don't like it, it's not a big deal. It's not about that.
It's not about you.
So not about you. You found your time doing your thing. You are doing your thing. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And maybe they won't stick with it. I don't care. It's about the fact that they tried something.
Yeah.
They tried something. They're showing interest. They're putting themselves out there. Be interested in them.
So
remove the thing. Be interested in them.
that's the other side of your question is, yes, I'm probably the bad side of that. But my wife, on the other hand, she's okay with baseball, but she's not a baseball person. And so when the younger boys really started playing, she learned how to score.
Yeah.
And then I'd look over at her scorebook, and next to, Colin's name, there'd be a heart colored in. And I'm like, put a heart in a baseball scorebook. And she's like, well, I do, So that's how she adapted to it. Is she's like, it's important to them, so I'm going to at least try to understand, and I'll do it my way.
Yeah.
And if he went 0 for 3 and grounded out to short every time, he was 3 for 3 in her scorebook because he hit the ball,
Right. Right. But on the other side, going 0 for 3, what does he do every time? What does he go do? Does he look at you? Like, I need that encouragement.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can watch my nephews
Yeah.
and niece play ball all
Yeah.
the time, and I love it.
Yeah.
But when they make a mistake, when something happens, they're looking back in the stands like,
Right.
I need that eye, I need that support
Yeah.
that says I'm there for
Right,
you.
right.
I may not care about the game, but I'm there for you
Yeah.
because I know that's hard.
Right.
I think one of the as an aunt, one of the hardest things to watch is your nephew on the pitching mound.
Oh, that's
And having-
everybody's
Oh
nightmare.
my gosh,
Yeah.
having this horrible
Yeah.
time. And I'm just like, please, just get him off the mound, get him
Yeah.
off the mound. Like, get to this inning, because it's torment and
Yeah.
torture, because I can feel how painful that is.
Right.
And I just hurt for him. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, just please get him off the mound. Like, because I just think, oh, that's so hard. And you're just rooting for them. And
Yeah.
so the fact that you're there,
Yeah.
it's like, man, I know you went through it.
Right.
And that game's going to pass and it's going to move on. But in that moment, I need to be present
Sure.
and there
Yeah.
because they're doing something hard
Right.
and they're going through something, and I want to be there
Yeah.
for you in that
Yeah.
moment.
That's good.
And when they look back at the stands and they see my wife going, "It's okay," and I'm going, like at least I'm here. Yeah.
There's a balance, right?
Right.
Yeah. Man. This has been good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's been
This
good
has
for
been
me.
good. So be present. That's the overall.
Be present.
But to your question, that was the last podcast. When you walk away from here, Natalie, is there anything that you're going to say, man, I wish I said this, or I wish I would have
Oh
clarified
gosh,
that,
I'm sure there'd be 1,000 things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wish I said,
or something that you didn't get to?
man, I don't know. There's so well, I was thinking through scripture and thinking through what's a verse that am I going to sum up this, and it kind of doesn't. It sums up a lot of things, but Psalm 118:24, which is, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." It's like taking each day and going, where can I be present today? What's going on with my kid
Yeah.
today? How can I pray for my kid today? I mean, that's another way, and that's something maybe I should have said too, is that being present is also praying for what your kid's going through that day. Like on the way to school, Olivia and I, we pray about her day, and kind of a thing there's always things you cover in your prayer, but it's like, what's specific for today? What does she need? What's going on today? And that is a huge part of present. I'm going to be praying for you today, throughout the day, and I try to, as I know she's doing something that'll be hard, You put it on your calendar so it beeps. You know, it's like, ooh, they're taking that test
Yeah,
at this time.
yeah.
Or they're doing this. You're being present. That's being present too. And so, you know, each day is new. The mercies are new each day. If I mess it up today, I can start over the next day and be present that day in whatever way I can. And finding a small way to say I can be present today for my kid. And maybe I've got a lot going on today. Like Thursdays for me are well, they're every day's kind of busy, but Thursdays I only get to see her after I take her to school for like 20 minutes in between school and going back to work. And then I'm working until like 9 usually. So it's like a long day. They don't get to see her much. And that 20 minutes picking her from school is huge because that's our connection point.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm not really, other than taking her to school
Yeah.
and then put her to bed, I'm not present the rest of the day. That 20 minutes,
Yeah.
I am all about her.
That's a big time, yeah.
Yes, it's huge. I can test the pulse of how she's coming out of school, what's going on. I can think about things maybe to ask later or to tell my husband, hey, ask her about this because, you know. So it's like, today, where can I be present? It's going to be a wonky day. I may have a lot of time today, but I'm going to rejoice and be glad in what I can, you know, how I can represent Christ to my kid, where I can be present, what I can be praying for, what I can be doing for my kid. And each day is different. And so just let it be new each day and find what you can do. And if you mess it up, you get a whole new day the next
Yeah.
day. You know?
God's grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God.
Thank you, Natalie. That is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
For sure. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. Man, go ahead and hit the rewind button, take that all the way back, and listen to it again. You know, if you feel, you know, guilt from not being present in any of your child's life, that's not the point of this podcast.
No.
Just like Natalie said, we don't know what we don't know, but we can do it better tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Man, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing us ramble about youth sports or other strangely interesting sports topics related to families, please go and like and subscribe to the show so that you can get regular updates when a new podcast is released. We'd also love to connect with you. Head on over to our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're under LC Sports and Recreation.
And if you're new to our podcast, go check out some of our previous episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's some good stuff on there. And pay attention because these come out pretty quickly, weekly, as a matter of fact. And you're going to learn a lot about what we have to say with regards to our league and how to win with the home team.